All right, guys, so we're going to be continuing from where we left off last class. And we have been looking at brackets and how to remove brackets using the distributive laws. We would have looked at three rules. The rule of how to remove brackets using the distributive law, multiplying what is inside by what is outside. That's the first rule. And the second rule is that whenever you have negative values outside the brackets, meaning that you're distributing using a negative value, then the signs of the values inside will change to their opposites. The third rule is wherever we have brackets, if we have a group of brackets within an expression, before we can simplify that expression, we need first to remove the brackets, applying the law of distribution, and then we add or subtract like terms together. All right. So I'm just going to look at. I'm just going to look at the example. Miss Maywa, what were you saying just now? Were you saying something just now, Miss Maywa?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to review Rule 3 as we would have gone through some exercises with Rule 1 and 2 already. And so we want to continue from that and look at exercise relating to Rule 3. So I'm just going to review Rule 3 and then have you go through the exercise and then we can do them together. All right. So Rule 3, remember what Rule 3 says: whenever there is an expression with brackets, or wherever you have more than one bracket within an expression, you first remove the brackets using the distributive laws. And then now we simplify by simply adding and subtracting like terms. And wherever terms are not alike, we keep them as an expression with the plus or minus sign between them. All right. So example 1 for Rule 3, we would have done this already, so I'm just recapping. So first and foremost, when there is no obvious number outside the brackets, then we use 1 as our number outside. And so by using 1, what that does, it allows you to use 1 to multiply what is in the brackets. And so automatically, 1 times anything in the bracket give you what you have in the bracket, so the bracket would be removed. Likewise, where we have a negative sign only outside the bracket, we choose -1 to multiply what is inside the brackets. And so in that case, bearing in mind that whatever sign that we have inside the bracket, when we multiply by that negative, those signs will change to their opposites. So based on what we have here, when we remove the brackets, for the first bracket multiplying through by 1, we would just simply get back what we have in the bracket. The expression that we have in the bracket would be 3x plus 7y. So we get back the exact same expression when we remove that bracket. Now for the second bracket, when we multiply by -1, then the positive 4x within the bracket now becomes -4x, and the positive 3y within the bracket now becomes -3y when the brackets are removed. So simplifying now by adding like terms, we see where 3x and clearly unknowns that are the same, we refer to them as like terms. So where the power and the letters are exactly the same, we are going to treat those as like terms, and so we add them by simply adding their coefficients, the number which is in front of them. We simply just add those numbers and group back the unknown with what we get in the results. All right, so let us just quickly go through that. So we have +3. +3, we are grouping x together. So +3 plus -4. We know that adding a positive and a negative, we take away the smaller one from the larger one. So that gives us 3 from 4, gives you 1, and we keep the sign of the larger number. In this case, -4 is larger, so we keep the sign of the negative in front of the answer. So in other words, -4x plus 3x will give you -x. Now, you may want to say -1x, and that wouldn't be wrong, or it wouldn't be incorrect, but it is customary for us to just put a negative sign instead of -1x whenever we do that kind of multiplication. All right. So for -3x, -4x, when we simplify, we get -x. And so now the next two like terms would be 7y minus 3y. And likewise, we're going to add them by adding their coefficients. So we have 7 minus 3. In this case, we'll get +4. And then now we put back the y beside it. So we get +4y. All right. Now, in the answer, we would prefer that you write the positives first, then the negative after. So instead of writing -x plus 4y, we would write +4y first minus x. All right, and that is just a practice in the way how we write these results. And so anything that we practice in math in a particular way, we call that a convention. So the convention here is to write the positive first and the negative afterwards when it comes down to expressions. All right, so that would be for this example. So we would get this as the answer. Now looking at another one and doing similar thing that we have been doing before, removing the brackets, taking what is outside, multiply what is inside in a distributive way. Then we multiply 3 times 2, we get 6. And then now regroup that 6 with the x, so we get 6x. And then now we have the plus sign, go back the plus sign. Yeah. So we have plus, and now we use the 3 now to multiply 3y. So 3 times 3 give you 9. I will group it back the y. So this would be 9y. All right. And then now that bracket would have been removed, and this is what we would have gotten from that bracket. The next bracket now, using the negative sign, -1, we change the x, positive x to negative x. We change the positive 5y to negative 5y. And all that remains for us to do now is to add like terms. So in this case, we're going to add 6x with minus x. So we just find a difference. So we have 6x minus x, that leaves you with 5x. And for the y's now, we have 9y minus 5y, will leave you with positive 4y. And so when we simplify these expressions, we still have our answers in the form of expression because we have, once we have unknowns in expression, we can only keep them with the positive and negative sign between them because we literally can't add unknowns of unlike signs. Sorry, not unlike signs, of unlike variables or unlike unknowns. Now, just to kind of put that into perspective, is that if you are treating the unknowns, let's say for instance, like fruits, and we have, say, 2 apples plus 3 apples, then clearly these are the same kind of fruits, and so we could just add them and then now get an overall total of that particular fruit. So this will give us 5 apples. Now, if we now have 2 apples with 3 carrots. Now, clearly those are not the same kind of grown provision. So, well, I should say, let me use a fruit instead of a vegetable. So let's say banana. So if we have 2 apples and 3 bananas, then obviously we could not add these 2 unknowns to get an overall total. So in other words, we cannot add the 2 plus the 3 to get 5, apple banana, so to speak. That would not be correct. So so we keep apples with apples and bananas with bananas. So for this result, we'll just have to leave the expression as is with the plus sign between the 2 variables. All right, so that should be clear enough for you to understand. And so our results here for this one would be 5x plus 4y. All right. Now with that, I think we are now ready to, let us look at this one. So in a similar way, removing the brackets, we have x outside the first bracket. So x times a, we get ax, plus x times b, we get bx. And if you notice here, when we are multiplying terms together, our products, we generally write the product in alphabetical order. So based on which letters come first in the alphabet, we write it in that order. So x times a comes first, so we write ax, and so on. So x times b will give us bx. And for the next bracket, we have a minus x. So minus x times a give you minus ax, and minus x times 3b will give you minus 3bx. And so here now, the combinations of letters that are the same, so ax and ax are like terms. Now bx and bx are like terms. So not because we have x in all of them mean that we can add them. The combination of the unknowns have to be exactly the same for them to be like terms. All right, so we can't add ax with bx. We only can add ax with ax. So here we have a positive AX adding with a negative AX. So that's the same as saying AX minus AX give you 0. So all that remains to be added now is BX minus 3BX. And in this case, we find the difference. So you take away 1 from 3, you get 2, you keep the sign of the larger one. So the answer will be negative 2BX. And so that's what the result will be. Here again, another example, we just simply multiply what is inside the bracket by what is outside. We get 10A after we multiply 2 times 5A give you 10A plus 3 times plus 2 times 3B give you 6B plus 3 times A give you 3A. And then now 3 times minus 2B give you negative 6B. So in a similar way, adding like terms, we see that positive 6B minus 6B will give you 0. So all that remains would be the A's. So we'll have 10A plus 3A. Overall, we'll have 13A. All right, everybody is clear on that? Let me see the hands of those who are pretty much okay with what we have been doing so far. All right. All right, so, and we would have seen these before, so we now can go ahead and try these from what we had before. So I would like you now to do this exercise applying what you would have learned from rule 3. So you have to remove the brackets and simplify. All right, so go ahead, I'll give you probably about, you should be able to do these within 5 or 6 minutes. All right, so go ahead, you may begin. All right, so be reminded that as usual, be prepared to walk me through your answers. All right. All right.